Everyone says Ned Stark died because he was too honorable. That's wrong. Ned Stark died because of one specific decision, made in one specific moment, that he could have made differently. And the worst part? He knew it was wrong when he made it. If you're new here, this is Mereth Tales. We go beyond what happened and into why it happened. Subscribe and hit the bell. You don't want to miss what's coming. Today I'm going to show you the exact moment Ned Stark chose his own death, the exact scene, the exact line. And by the end of this video, you will never see his story the same way again. Let's start with the lie everyone believes. Ned Stark died because he was honorable. That's the story. That's what the show wants you to take away. That's what fans have been saying for 15 years. But here's the problem with that story. Honor didn't kill Ned Stark. Honorable men survive in Westeros all the time. Davos Seaworth, a man who refused to lie even when lying would have saved him, survived 8 seasons. Barristan Selmy, the most honorable knight in the realm, served 3 kings and lived into his 70s. Jon Snow died for his honor and came back. Honor is not a death sentence in Westeros. So if honor didn't kill Ned Stark, what did? One conversation, one decision made in a room with no witnesses, between a man who believed in mercy and a woman who believed in survival. Ned discovered the truth about Joffrey Baratheon, that Joffrey was not Robert's son, that the heir to the Iron Throne was born of incest, illegitimate, with no legal claim to anything. He had the truth, he had the power, he had options. He could have gone directly to Robert, privately, immediately, before Cersei knew anything. Robert was his oldest friend. Robert would have believed him. The moment Robert knew, Cersei's position collapsed overnight. He could have left King's Landing with his daughters, packed them up, rode north, and sent word to Robert from the safety of Winterfell. Distance and time on his side. He could have stayed silent, consolidated allies, waited for the right moment to act when the ground was more solid beneath him. He chose none of these. Instead, Ned Stark walked into a room with Cersei Lannister, the woman whose entire world depended on no one ever knowing what he knew, and he told her. He warned her. He said, "I know the truth about your children. Take them and flee before Robert returns from his hunt. I will give you a head start. I will give you time." He gave her time. Think about what that means. Ned Stark handed the most dangerous woman in Westeros an advance warning that her survival was at stake. Ask yourself, what would you do with that information? You wouldn't flee. Not if you were Cersei Lannister. Not if you had spent your entire life clawing for power in a world that told you women were ornaments, not players. Not if your sons sat between you and everything you had ever fought for. You would act. And that is exactly what Cersei did. The moment Ned left that room, she moved. She went to Joffrey. She went to the Kingsguard. She positioned her pieces while Ned was still congratulating himself on his mercy. 48 hours later, Robert was dead and Ned was in chains. One conversation. Now here is the question that nobody asks. Why did Ned do it? It wasn't stupidity. Ned Stark was not a stupid man. He had governed the North for years. He had survived Robert's rebellion. He had watched men die for political miscalculations and learned from every one of them. He understood politics well enough to know that what he was holding was a weapon. But Ned Stark did not think of it as a weapon. He thought of it as a burden. That distinction is everything. A weapon is something you use. A burden is something you carry. And eventually something you set down. Ned couldn't hold the truth about Joffrey and do nothing with it. That was never an option for him. The question was only what he would do. And when he stood in front of Cersei Lannister, he saw not an enemy. He saw a mother. He saw children who were innocent of what their parents had done. He saw an exit, a way for everyone to survive without blood, without war, without the destruction that he could already feel coming if things went wrong. He chose the exit. He warned Cersei because he believed she was a mother first and a player second. That is the real mistake. Not the conversation itself, but the assumption beneath it. Ned correctly understood that Cersei loved her children more than anything in the world. He was right about that. Her love for Joffrey, Myrcella, and Tommen was genuine, perhaps the only genuine thing about her. But he made a catastrophic error in what he predicted she would do with that love. He thought she would run. He thought a mother's love would choose safety over power, that given the option to flee with her children and live, she would take it over the risk of fighting and losing. He was wrong, because Cersei's love for her children was not separate from her hunger for power. It was the same thing. Her children were her power. Her children were her legacy. Her children were the reason she had endured everything. The marriage, the humiliations, the years of playing second to a king who loved another woman. She was not going to take her children and run. She was going to take her children and fight. And Ned, in his mercy, had given her exactly enough time to do it. This is the most human mistake in Game of Thrones, and it's the one nobody talks about. Not naivety, not stupidity. A man who read another person correctly understood her love, her devotion, the thing she valued most in the world, and then predicted completely wrong what she would do with it. Now let's follow the consequence. Because Ned Stark's mistake did not just cost him his life, it cost his family everything. Robert dies. Joffrey sits the throne. Ned is publicly executed in front of his daughters and half of King's Landing, a deliberate act of humiliation designed to break the North before the war even begins. And it works. Sansa watches her father die, and something inside her breaks and rebuilds into something harder. Arya watches and disappears into a city that will spend years trying to kill her. And in Winterfell, a boy named Robb Stark receives a raven that changes the course of his entire life. Robb Stark rides south to retrieve his father and demand justice. And the moment Robb Stark crosses the neck with his army, the entire game changes. Robb wins every battle he fights. He is brilliant in the field, possibly the best military commander of his generation. The young wolf, they call him. The lords of the Westerlands learn to fear that name. He captures Jaime Lannister. He holds the Lannisters to a stalemate that no one thought possible for a northern lord fighting on unfamiliar ground. But the war he wins on the battlefield, he loses in the political arena. Because Robb is his father's son. He makes promises. He breaks them for love. He marries Talisa instead of the Frey girl, because he is a man of honor who cannot bring himself to use a woman as a political instrument, just like his father. The Red Wedding is not just Walder Frey's revenge. It is the inevitable consequence of a chain of honorable decisions made by honorable men in a world that punishes honor with blood. Robb dies because Ned died. Catelyn dies because Robb died. House Stark is destroyed because one man warned the wrong person in a room in King's Landing. One conversation. All of this. There is a version of the story where Ned Stark walks past Cersei's chambers, goes directly to Robert's rooms, and says, "I need to tell you something about your son." In that version, Robert lives. In that version, Joffrey never sits the throne. In that version, the War of Five Kings never happens. The Red Wedding never happens. Robb and Catelyn Stark die in their beds, old and grey, surrounded by grandchildren. But Ned Stark was not built for that version. He was built for mercy, for warning, for giving even his enemies the chance to choose differently. The tragedy of Ned Stark is not that he was honorable in a dishonorable world. It is that his honor made him merciful to someone who had no use for mercy. He gave Cersei a gift she used to destroy him. And the most devastating thing about it, the thing that makes his death genuinely tragic rather than just inevitable, is that he would do it again. Because that is who Ned Stark was. Think about what that means. Not as a narrative device, as a human truth. There are people in this world who are built for ruthlessness, who can look at a situation clearly, identify what needs to be done, and do it without the weight of what it costs the person on the other side. Those people survive in games like the one Westeros plays. And then there are people like Ned, people who cannot separate the strategic decision from the human consequence, who look at Cersei Lannister, queen, schemer, enemy, and cannot stop also seeing a woman who loves her children, who cannot make the cold calculation without first asking whether the cold calculation is right. Ned knew what the right political move was. He chose the right human move instead. A man who could not look at a mother's love for her children and choose ruthlessness over compassion. In a different world, a better world, that would make him a great man. In Westeros, it made him a dead one. That is the one mistake that got Ned Stark killed. Not honor. Not naivety. Mercy. Given to the wrong person, at the wrong time. Robb Stark made a different kind of mistake, different choice, different moment, but it cost him just as much. That story is next.